Mum's drinking was first noticed as a problem when I was about 4 years old. However, I don't remember a time when she didn't drink. There are many painful memories: car accidents, fires, police stations. Given that we were told to tell white lies, it became apparent that my role in the family would have to help in the concealment of the truth. So I cooked, cleaned, and took an active role in my sister's education. I'd be in the playground, aged 13, waiting to pick her up, standing alongside the normal mums, feeling awkward and embarrassed. I'd help her complete her homework, give her a bath, and get her into bed on time in the hope that she would be rested for the next day. If I went out on a Saturday, I'd bring her home gifts as I felt guilty for leaving her. And whenever I was asked by neighbours, "How's Mum?" I'd say, "Fine." My escapism was drama, and on applying for university, I decided I was going to move as far away from London as possible. I got to Kent. Mum and Dad had instilled in us the personal freedom that education can provide, and I knew that I wanted my future to be very different from my past. Of course, it was challenging. I felt guilt, loneliness, feelings of inadequacy, but doing a subject that I love got me through. I'd like to share with you two further memories that I don't think will ever leave me. The first was when I was around 12 years old. I was feeling incredibly burdened, and I couldn't see a time when my life wouldn't be dictated by Mum's drinking. I got on my bike with the intention of going to the payphone to ring Childline, just so I could speak to an invisible person about what I was feeling. Acting as if nothing was wrong and appearing like a normal family was suffocating me, and I desperately wanted to talk to someone. Riddled with nerves, I stopped on the pavement off my road and contemplated whether phoning Childline would get me into trouble or lead to more bad things happening to my family. I must have waited on that pavement for some time as a neighbour came out to ask me if I was okay. She was well used to seeing Mum passed out outside the front door or hearing her wail uncontrollably. So I sobbed and I told her what I was thinking of doing. Her advice, which I will never forget, was not to phone Childline, as she thought it could lead us to be taken into care and our siblings separated. I'm sure she believed that this was the best possible advice for us as a family, but actually it just instilled an even greater sense of fear of what could happen. So I continued to keep things bottled up and continued to feel like my words and my actions could cause more damage to our family. The second memory is when I was rehearsing for an examination performance, something that could temporarily take me away from my world and my existence and allow me to escape into the being of a character. We were a day away from the first performance, and I was enjoying feeling part of something positive, where people worked together for a common aim and celebrated successes. Midday, I rushed home to get some costume for a friend, and the moment I entered the house, I knew that something was wrong. I can always tell if Mum is drinking as soon as I step through the door, due to the smell, the unkempt state of the house, and of course the atmosphere. As I walked up the stairs and called for Mum, I saw this trail of blood leading me to the bedroom. When I entered her room, I thought she was dead. Her head, chest and arms were covered in blood, and she lay motionless on the bed. I kept repeating, "Mum, Mum, are you okay? Are you awake?" But I didn't receive a reply. Petrified and in hysterics, I phoned my dad and said that I thought Mum was dead. He told me that he was on his way and to call an ambulance, and within minutes an ambulance arrived and she was rushed to A&E. She didn't die, but she did have to have stitches in her head as she'd fallen down these concrete steps, unable to control her body due to the amount of neat vodka she had consumed, and she cracked her head open. The ambulance staff were incredible, quick and responsive, but of course they asked questions that I didn't want to answer. The next day, I went back to school, pretended as if everything was fine, and did the show. I got a distinction. If your friends, youth workers, boyfriends, teachers, whoever, if they don't know what you're experiencing, they don't understand you. And if they don't understand you, they can't help. Living with an alcoholic, the emotional, physical neglect, well, that's tough enough. But not having anyone to talk to is tougher still. As a teacher, I sometimes get an instinct about a pupil, an instinct that there's something that they're hiding, but are perhaps desperate to reveal. Now, although there's a Child Protection Act, which is fundamentally about the safeguarding of individuals, I can't actively lead a student into telling me information. I would hope that the pupils I work with feel safe and secure enough to do so, but quite often, when someone has been let down, and let down again and again by the adults in which they're meant to trust, they keep their secrets to themselves. I wish that I had phoned Childline, and I wish that I had told the teacher that I got the distinction for what had happened, as maybe I wouldn't have felt so alone. I wish that COAP had existed all those years ago, when I sat alone in my room, too scared to express what was going through my mind. I survived and I achieved, but I felt incredibly lonely and incredibly trapped. Now, almost 30, I am finally open about the alcoholism in my family, and although it saddens me, my newfound openness has liberated me. Do you know that last year I had a 5-month relationship, and one of my main priorities was to keep Mum's drinking a secret. He saw pictures of my entire family except for her, because my fear was that if he knew that Mum was an alcoholic, whilst on a date and enjoying a glass of wine, he would automatically think that I would turn out like her, or that my family was too dysfunctional and he couldn't associate himself with us. Naturally, the relationship didn't last because I wasn't being honest and I wasn't being myself. Having an addicted parent is not my failure, and I'm determined not to let my past hold me back anymore. I'm determined to make my future very different from my past. Thank you.